One thing you might notice is that our targeting reticle right now is still white, when it's supposed to turn yellow after we get our augmentations and everything. But that's how you can tell that these first three videos are part of the same recording session, because for some reason, whenever I shut off the Xbox, or if I leave the game and then re-enter the game and load it from within the from the dashboard, it seems to want to fix that and change everything to change the targeting reticle to yellow. But I don't know why it stays white like this during the same same session of the game. It seems kind of weird. If anybody knows the answer to that, then let me know. But I want to show off a little bit of combat here, some more action with the double-barrel shotgun. Now, since these guys have no armor whatsoever and it only takes a few shots to kill them, the double-barrel shotgun is still pretty good against them, even from blind fire, which is another feature of this game that should be pretty obvious that it has due to the whole cover system. It should be pretty apparent that it has blind fire, which it does. And using the blind fire is not usually that reliable. Usually is with automatic weapons, but not. And you would think it'd be. Look at that guy's body glitching out. Yeah, the corpses do that sometimes, but the shotguns you would think would be really good for that, and to a certain extent the regular shotgun is, but the double barrel shotgun just scatters so much from blind fire that it usually won't do enough damage to kill an enemy, especially later in the game. Now right now, I want to show off some combat there, but those guys are the guys who I just spent the last video trying to avoid are going to start coming through that door, so I'm just going to cower out of this encounter. And that's usually what stealth is going to involve in this game, is just dodging encounters, not really trying to kill them silently. It's just trying to avoid them. Now there's a keypad right here with a code, but we don't know the code, so what we're going to do is we're going to hack it and to get the door open that way. Now this is another mini game where you have to capture these nodes, like so. It's pretty self-explanatory. There's a tutorial for it, so I'm not going to really take any time to explain it. But I'm going to be showing all the hacking on screen, and there's other more complicated versions of it later on. And hacking is some of the augmentations we can invest into for more efficiency when hacking. And I picked up an item there. I should probably explain what the item does. That's Cyber Boost Pro Energy Bar. That is to increase one of your battery bars there by one, or restore one of your batteries. And those batteries are consumed whenever you do takedowns, or whenever you use some of your other augmentations that I'll mention later on. Your last one will recharge, and if you don't use the entirety of another one, that will also recharge. And what I did just there is I trank rifled, just tranked, I suppose you could say, one of those guys over there, and him falling unconscious, that served as a distraction to slip past those other guys. Now right here I'd like to mention, if you're trying to go for that achievement, the Foxiest of the Hounds achievement for not setting off any alarms, you're going to hear an alarm sound right here, but this is one of the few times in the game to where that alarm sound effect is already playing, but it's not an alarm you can actually avoid triggering, so it doesn't count. The fact that this alarm is going on right now does not count against that achievement, so you don't need to freak out and say, oh, I already failed the achievement, because this alarm is always going to be playing no matter what. And there's a few instances like that in the game. I'll try to mention them whenever they occur. But I'm not going to be so strict about trying to not set off alarms, especially during the parts where I want to be free with combat. There's another hacking session right here. Apparently I can't get to this thing unless I go both sides, or maybe just from the other side. And as the network is detecting you and it's capturing the nodes against you, if it captures an uncaptured node, it's just going to make that node harder for you to capture back. So it's pretty annoying that way. But I picked up another Cyber Boost Pro Energy Bar. Those are really useful during stealth runs. I'll explain why when we unlock the augmentation that makes stealth a lot easier. Because we're going to need a lot of those things. And I may use quite a few of them in this run as well, but in a full combat run, they're not going to be nearly as useful. But luckily, they only take 1 square of inventory space. Let's see, there's some more ammo in this room. I might like to go combat through this room. No, you can probably, what I might try to do is sneak up here and use the trank rifle for another distraction. And I think early on like this, when we don't have much ammo, I think that's what the trank rifle is best for, is just knocking out one guy and using his distraction to get through the room, and not actually trying to knock out all the guys and loot all the guys, unless you absolutely want to know what all the loot in that room is, which I can't really blame you if you do, especially because a lot of that stuff, if we don't want, we can just sell. Now you have to lean all the way over this railing to get that shot off, because if you just sort of poke the rifle over the railing, then the shot will actually hit the railing, so you actually have to lean all the way over it like that to be able to get your shot off. I wasted quite a few darts like that the first time through the game. But I'm actually, looks like I'm actually able to knock all these guys out for a change. Like, they're not even noticing the other guys being knocked out. They're actually just minding their own business. These guys carry a new weapon, though. It's a machine pistol or a submachine gun, if you prefer. And I'm going to pick it up and show it off a little bit, but it's not a weapon I'm going to be keeping throughout the rest of the game. Although I do recommend it, though, because there's some stun gun darts, or, yeah, stun gun, I suppose they're darts. They're, the taser darts for the stun gun. I suppose they'd be charges then for the taser. But anyway, there are some side rooms over here, and I'm sure there's a lot more to loot in this room, but these side rooms right here each have a guy in them, and usually when you open the door, he'll notice, hey, somebody opened the door, but nobody came through, and he'll become suspicious. But anyway, this guy didn't notice. I'm going to go ahead and knock him out. And get some more pistol ammo. And there's some other stuff we can loot in this room, including some more revolver ammo, which I definitely want to stock up on for when we actually get the revolver. As much as I like the revolver in this game, as I usually like revolver magnums in FPS games, I'm not in a hurry to get it. Otherwise, I would have gotten it right there at the beginning by using the selecting the combat close range or the lethal close range option from Sarif there. But like I said, we'll get it in due time. Yeah, the machine pistol, as I was saying, has incredibly plentiful ammo as the game goes on, so I do recommend it. Anyway, we just picked up an item called a Praxis Kit here. Now, that will automatically give us 1 Praxis point, and the Praxis points are what we unlock through experience. They're basically our skill points through gaining levels, sort of. Except we don't really gain levels, we just gain the next Praxis. And what we can do is we can invest these points in our augmentations. Now, I just went ahead and advanced my hacking to level 2 there for some stuff I want to unlock later on. And I'm going to be going over the augmentations as I unlock them, but in order to get all the Hugh Darrow ebooks, we're going to need a very specific setup, and I'll probably remind you guys of this several times throughout the LP. Technically, I showed off that little side area there with that vent. We can just skip this camera and that turret that way, but there's a Hugh Darrow ebook in this room, so I definitely want to pick that up before moving on. Go ahead and mark that one off. But like I said, there's a very specific setup we're gonna need for getting all the Hugh Darrow ebooks. We're gonna need level 5 hacking. We're gonna need the Icarus landing system. We're gonna need move/throw heavy objects, and we're gonna need enhanced jumping height. And those are the ones we absolutely have to have. And technically, we can either have one or the other when it comes to move heavy objects, I think. Or we can have either move heavy objects or jump height, but I prefer to get both. Now, we found the password for this security hub right here, so I don't need to actually hack it. And we can go ahead and use it to disable the cameras. Those security hubs are very useful to hack, because they can, like I said, disable cameras, and they can disable turrets and security bots, and they can also open secret doors. But the ability to disable security bots and turrets is something we buy through augmentations. And you definitely want to avoid that camera if you don't want to set off any alarms, because I'm pretty sure this level counts as one of the levels that you can get an alarm set off in. You just have to be wary of when it's going to happen. Now, for achievements like that, I recommend you save incredibly often to make sure you don't have to backtrack too much, because you're not wanting to immediately load your save after you've failed to keep an alarm from being set off. Notice I'm not picking up the stun gun darts there, but that's how you avoid that turret right there if you don't want to take it from the front. And this guy seems to be focusing quite strongly here.
Step away from the console, now!
Yeah, I don't know if I showed this off or not, but when you do a lethal takedown, you have blades that come out of your arms. Oh, nasty.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, that's a rather realistic looking exit wound there.
Pritchard, you still there?
Well, I'll be damned. Purity First are a bunch of hypocrites. They've got an AUG on their team.
Now.
Adam, it's David.
Okay, so we've completed our objective of retrieving the Typhoon there. This guy has some good stuff we're obviously going to want to take off him. Being a hacker, he has some nuke virus software and stopworm software, which are the two softwares we can... Ooh, some sniper rifle ammo. Definitely want that. But those are used to either automatically capture a node and stop time for 5 seconds, respectively, when hacking. So those are very useful for hacking tough things you may not be able to capture, or you might have messed up at some point, you need to correct yourself, so I'll use those from time to time on the more difficult hacks. And now that we've dealt with that guy and retrieved the Typhoon prototype, now we need to go and take out Zeke Sanders, the antagonist here. And there's a really cool skirmish going on down here between the Purity First guys and the SWAT. And SWAT is just utterly kicking their asses down there. Like, you'll see them get totally dominated. And that's just the AI just acting everything out. I mean, that just goes to show you how much tougher the SWAT guys are than these Purity First guys. Like, if you try to pick on the police, they will rip you to shreds. So I don't recommend it. I think there's an item I missed back there, but whatever. Try not to use the pistol too much, because like I said, ammo is very scarce in this game, and when you can just knock a guy out and take his ammo instead of shooting him to death, then you might as well. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take that guy out. I'm going to demonstrate some more combat in this hallway. This guy's uncomfortably close there, so I can just blind fire at him, but I say hitting anyone anywhere else other than the head with a precision weapon like the pistol is pretty much a waste. So there's certain enemies where I really don't want to know how many shots it takes to kill them. So I just rather stick to either instant kills or hitting them in the head, which depending on the situation can be either or. See what I was saying about the blind firing with the double barrel? It just scatters way too much to be useful. So I gotta pop around the corner and try to see if I can get a blast clumped together in one direction to kill one guy. Let me know if you guys think the double barrel is overpowered at this point in the game. I'm not trying to use it too much, I'm just trying to demonstrate it, but I do tend to have it later in the game. Just because I don't normally use the regular shotgun, and I'm still kind of playing around with the normal, the double barrel shotgun, the other DLC weapons, so, since I got them recently, so they're new to me as well. Every time I get some more, every time I get some more data, like if I read some emails or if I get a pocket secretary, which oftentimes has passcodes and stuff in it, I like to go to my menu and make sure I've read that off so I don't go looking for some data and try to figure out where it was. I'll always know if I pick something up, it'll be under the new ones. There's several items we can loot here and several computers we can hack to read the information on it. And a lot of it has some very detailed information about Sarif Industries if you want to read up on that. There's a ton of reading material in this game if you're interested. And I highly recommend taking the time to read it if you're not in a hurry. But obviously I'm not going to be showing all that stuff on screen because that would make this incredibly boring. So, and none of that has any crucial passcodes or anything to any events later in the game, so I'm just going to ignore it. And I'm pretty sure right here at this desk, if I can find the damn thing, there it is our last Hugh Darrow ebook for this level. There's only 2. So now I'll march that one off. We're going to go ahead and confront Zeke Sanders.
Don't lie to me. I don't want to hurt you. You're a civilian. But I will if you don't give me a choice.
Hey, he's got a revolver. I wouldn't mess with him either.
You should have stayed home tonight.
Oh, look. Sarif's attack dog. You're here to clean up before the police bust
That's a nice
in?
eye patch you got there, buddy.
Thinks we're breaking the law. Shut up. All you body polluters break laws. You're all the same.
You're gonna have a hard time convincing people you're any different once they hear you had an AUG on your team.
What?
I found your attack.
So revealing that little piece of evidence to him totally changes his game up. Because he had no idea. So he didn't willingly allow this augmented guy to be on his team because, you know, the Purity First is highly against augmentation, so why would they? Unless they are, in fact, a bunch of hypocrites. So now we have the option to either fight him and kill him and free the hostage, and that's actually a pretty good option because then we get to take his revolver, and there's other reasons why I think that's a good idea as well. But the first time playing the game, you definitely want to try to free Josie and negotiate with him, which becomes its own minigame here, where we try to persuade him into letting her go. Now this is an intense dialogue sequence where we have to give him the right approach of persuasion to let him get him to let her go, and it also not only will allow him to leave peacefully, and we'll get the achievement for successfully doing this dialogue sequence, but he'll also help us out later in the game. So we definitely want to do this for the first time through the game. But the information he'll give you later in the game is something you'll already know the second time through. So I don't really recommend wasting your time with this your next couple times through the game, because there's a lot of benefits to actually killing him here if you wish, but I'm not going to bother with that right now. I'm just going to let the dialogue go through and go with the correct options here. And there are multiple ways of getting to the end result of the dialogue minigame here, the persuasion minigame rather, but it's like, I definitely want to empathize with him, because empathy is very, I like empathy as an approach. I use it a lot in real life, but
You got a good point there.
we gotta try to persuade him into letting her go, and figure out that, you know, convince him that he got played, and that technically he's innocent, I suppose.
Just like the cops out there.
But
Have to be stupid.
the dialogue changes a lot from every time you every time you play this game. You may choose the same dialogue options over and over again. Like, I'm going to choose the exact same options that are the correct ones for winning these dialogue sequences for each of them throughout the game. But some of this dialogue I've never heard before that follows up after each line. It's still the correct line as part of his persuasion. Like, he's still being persuaded just as much as he was in the other runs through the game, but it's a randomly generated dialogue that he replies with. So that might throw off some people who think that the dialogue they used the last time is not going to work this time, but it will. It's a randomly generated, or it's a randomly cycled response from him out of many responses that react to that particular phrase. So I'm gonna go with the same ones I've done through my test runs that have always worked. I'm actually not sure what happens if you fail these. I'm pretty sure if you fail the one with him, you probably have to kill him to get her free. Which, as I said, is not even the worst idea in the world, but still, there's quite a few of them that I've never failed any of them before, so I'm not really sure what the result is.
I told him I would if I had to. I thought I had to here, but I can't afford to, can I? Go on, get out of here. You're free to go. I did what you wanted, so let me go. I got played here too, I see.
There's also an augmentation you can unlock called the Social Enhancer, which shows an actual progression bar for his persuasion, and that can be very useful, and also can be useful in dissecting the personality types of people when you're talking to them. And I highly recommend that your first time through the game, especially for a particular achievement later on, but I'm not going to get it because I already know how to win these dialogue minigames. So we freed her, and we get the achievement, and we're going to go ahead and exit this level now, and we get another practice point. So